Mic check, 1, 2. There I am, standing in line at Chipotle, picking up some nice dinner from my free entree after Evo, and clock struck 6 p.m. and this pack came out, so I was ripping packs while waiting in line at Chipotle. As such, I have seen a lot of these little guys. I don't think I've seen all of them. It's a mini set, Everyday Wonders, I believe. We've already had a Paldean Wonders. What, we're still having Wonders? How can something be everyday and wonderful? It's only 69 new cards, something like that, so should be pretty fast to go through them all. And I have kind of done the step-up battles, so I do have a little bit of an idea of what the potential of some of these little guys are. This very first one is actually pretty neat. Only 40 HP on little old Caterpie here, but at the end of the opponent's turn, if Caterpie somehow lived, the game will search for a Metapod from your deck and then evolve the Caterpie. And that doesn't count as evolving it on your turn, so you can then immediately evolve it again into Butterfree. And it's a grass type, so you can do that by having Butterfree or by having Quick Grow Extract. So, provided they can't just kill this thing immediately, which oftentimes they won't be able to, especially because half the time they won't even have an energy to attack it. This little guy is a fantastic lead and able to get up the Butterfree really, really quickly and easily. And not only that, but we have a new Butterfree from this set that's actually very low energy, so the synergy is very strong. And then there's additional synergy with the Zoroark that they do in the step-up battles that's probably pretty legitimate. The attack is nothing, the HP is miserable, but that ability is one of the best abilities in the game. Not only does it thin out your deck, but it also, it adds this huge layer of consistency to this thing reliably getting an evolution off. If you have both Metapods in hand, I imagine that the ability doesn't work, but at the very least you have the Metapod ready to go. But, if you don't have a Metapod in hand, it'll find one from your deck, and it's pretty unlikely that you'll have both in your hand. Here's the Metapod in question. It's a 1 energy Metapod. Pretty good attributes, I would say. The retreat cost being 2 is not ideal, but it's not a big deal. And then 1 energy means it's ready to go right away after that little Caterpie's all done doing whatever it does. Good enough card. And then this Butterfree, I think we had a Butterfree from Genetic Apex. I don't know if we've had one since then. It just heals. The really notable thing about it, the HP is pretty good, and then obviously you've got stuff like Leaf Cape or Lilligant or stuff like that to increase it further. But 60 is a very nice benchmark. The healing is kind of secondary. You don't really care about that much. Maybe it'll add up over the course of several attacks. Healing like that is better in the early game than the late game. This is kind of an early game card. So there's some serious merit to this little thing, I think. And then because you're actually doing the whole line, instead of just using a rare candy to go through it, once this dies, it ends up as 3 Mons in your discard pile. And that's really cool for Zoroark, which powers up more for every Mon in your discard pile. So there's a very nice synergy there. And it being low energy gives you more time to put energies on a Zoroark. You have to kind of consider how many energies stuff needs versus how much HP it has when considering how much time you're going to have to put energies on other things. So you only need to devote a single turn putting an energy on this, and it's going to survive for several. So, it helps set up other Mons in your deck. You got to think about it like that. We have a little Cacnea here. The Cacturn is a dark type, so we won't see it for a little bit. This is kind of a nothing card. It's not very good. It's colorless, which, of course, Cacturn being a dark type, you need this to be colorless. Maybe if they eventually... I think we've already had a grass type Cacturn, haven't we? So this is probably not our first Cacnea, but I can't remember. We got a Tropius. We've definitely had a very shitty Tropius before. I think we had a 3 colorless energies Tropius or something like that. This one is not impressive. It's just pack filler. I guess it can attack quite quickly with a Superior on the bench, but I think that role has pretty much gone to Heracross now. Heracross does 80 damage by having a Superior on the bench for 1 energy. This only does 50. Now this thing has a little bit more HP, but 80 damage is a lot for 1 energy. That's all I gotta say about that. I probably wouldn't touch this. Petalil, flip 2 coins, this attack does 20 damage for each heads. I can't immediately picture. I think we had like a Blot Petalil or something like that. Maybe this one has more HP than the other ones. I think the other ones had like 50. Might be okay, I don't know. But notably, Petalil evolves into both Lilligant and Hisuian Lilligant, and we got a Hisuian Lilligant here. It's the same as something. We've had this effect before, but I can't place what it was. 40 damage on one energy, and then with a tool it's 60 damage. So, Rocky Helmet, Leaf Cape, something like that. Um, and that's 60 is a very nice benchmark. So there's merit there, and it's not horrible. 100 HP and 40 damage on one energy is not the end of the world. It's not abysmal. You probably wouldn't run this, but you could use it for the stuff of battles or something like that. We got a Vulpix, hold still. He'll hold 20 HP from this Pokemon. I would probably rather have used the one that prevents the opponent from attacking, and I would probably rather use one of the others than that. I think we've had several Vulpixes. And then I actually recognize this Ninetales art. It's from the Game Boy game. I was a bit caught off guard to see that here. At first I was like, oh, was this like base set Ninetales? And I went back and looked at base set Ninetales, and that wasn't it. And I was like, oh, I've seen it before. And then yeah, it's from the freaking GBA game, or GBC. I laughed when I read the attack. Flip 9 coins. Attack does 20 damage for each heads. Now, 3 energies is quite expensive. Let me do a quick little bit of mental math here. So, 180 damage, half that is your expected damage, 90, I guess. But it can't actually do 90, but that's, your average. Useless with Victini. Victini gives you one... No, Victini lets you reflip the whole thing, doesn't it? Okay, Victini is probably a decent ally for this. I was picturing Will's effect in my head, but Victini just if you get a 2-head, 7 tails, Victini lets you try again. So we've got more Victini synergy, I suppose. It's 9 coins, I guess, for the 9 tails, huh? That's very thematic. I appreciate that. I don't think it did anything like that in the Game Boy game, but I don't remember. Pretty cool card. And then we got a Growlithe. The big question with the puppy pile, when everyone was discussing it, they revealed it in the trailer. Everyone was like, what are the evolutions going to be like? Because it's a bunch of different mons with different types. And they're all using Colorless Puppy Pile, but everyone was quietly wondering what the energy color you would use and what the Arcanine for this Growlithe would be like. But then, surprise, surprise, there is no Arcanine for this Growlithe. All the puppies from this set don't have evolutions. We just have the base forms. Now, you could just play an Arcanine from another set. You could play a Dashbun from another set, stuff like that, or whatever. Doxbun. But I'm still not super sure on which one is what's probably the best way to do it. Probably with a Grass Energy with Ogerpon or a Psychic Energy with Comfey would be interesting to consider for a Puppy Pile deck. So I made a Puppy Pile deck because it's one of the easiest decks you can make because all the cards are very common. And I did the Step Up Battles with it to get the 12. You build a deck with 12 new mons and then win 12 new cards for the expert Step Up Battle kind of thing. And the Puppy Pile deck was doing pretty well. I do have some initial impressions on it. I don't know, we're going to have a very different Puppy Pile deck when it goes competitive based on not similar to the one that I built that just had all of them. The damage output is quite insane very quickly. I was running it without babies or anything like that, so I had to organically get 2 energies, and I will say needing sets of 2 energies is very awkward, because sometimes you just want to kill something that doesn't have that much HP, but you can't put 2 energies on something at once, and every time something dies, you're down 2 energies. So your damage output is through the roof. Just so we're clear, it looks at all the puppies in play, like on the field, and then also looks at all the puppies in your hand. It does not look in the discard pile. So there are currently 5 cards with Puppy Pile, which means you can get up to 200 damage by having, a pair of each. And 200 damage on 2 energies is pretty insane, and you can potentially get that very quickly with the stuff like Copycat or Puppy Living Girl or whatever. So the deck is quite fun to play. Is it good? Probably yes, but probably not if you just stick 10 puppies plus the Puppy Living Girl and call it a day. There's probably going to be some brew that's going to make it a lot better. And the one I saw so far, it was linked to me on social, was a Stoutland with Memory Light. That was the version I saw. Because Stoutland has a really good ability where it makes the opponent need to attach more energies, which gives you time. And then also it's got a lot of HP, and with Memory Light you can activate Puppy Pile, and the Stoutland's attack considers all the... I don't know if it considers the whatever the Herdier... What's the little one called? I don't know if it considers the one that it evolved from. That one might not be considered in play because it's underneath the Stoutland. But it definitely still considers the puppies on your bench and in your hand. That would probably be pretty good, because the big problem with the Puppy Pile deck is that all the mons are very low HP and frail and squishy. This Growlithe is kind of neat. The gimmick with it is that it's got a little bit more HP than the others, 80 instead of 60. All the others are 60 except Fido. And then the retreat cost is ginormous, which is it seems really inconvenient, but it lets you theoretically put a heavy helmet on it, and you are very strapped for bulk on among the puppy pile deck. So that might actually be something you would consider doing. So we'll look at all the different puppies as we go. Some of them are pretty similar. Rockruff and um, Yamper are only different based on their weakness, but this one has a little difference with its HP and its retreat. We got a new Psyduck, confuses both itself and the opponent. It's terrible. Go use the one that's locks supporters. Goldeen, I really like the art on this one, and I tend to like these 50 HP, 30 damage cards, but nothing much to say about it. Sea King, it's kind of funny to have a Lightning Weak Goldeen and Sea King because they have Lightning Rod in the games, but whatever. 90 HP is not great, but then the attack is kind of cool. 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, 30 damage to the main target. It's not playable. there's no reason you would ever run this, but it's I guess you can get up some early game damage for your Attack the Wound deck or whatever. Phoebus, it's just here so that we can have a new Milotic. I don't remember what the other Phoebus did. I think it had like jump out or whatever, splash whatever, the one that like retreats to the bench or something like that. But now we've got just a regular. I can't imagine you would ever run this card over the other one. Like basically anything the other one did is going to be better than this. This is one of the worst cards imaginable. And here's our Milotic. It's quite interesting. There is a new card, Wallace. Let's go look at him real quick. Actually, let me jump around. I can't recall his effects from memory. Choose one of your water Pokemon and play with a maximum HP of 50 or less. Put a random water Pokemon from your deck that evolves from that Pokemon onto that Pokemon to evolve it. So obviously, and if you're only running Melodic EX, you'll always get Melodic EX from that. So that's really good for Magikarp, and it's also really good for Phoebus, and it's probably slightly good for various other random things. But Mega Gyarados could make a big comeback with something like that, or like one of the other Gyarados cards. It's very interesting, very very good effect. And notably, it lets you can play that on turn one. Like, you can play a supporter on turn one, and the supporter is the evolution mechanism, so it just bypasses the normal evolution checks. So you can turn this Phoebus on turn one into a Milotic, and then Milotic's ability lets you put a water energy on it once per turn. And then on turn 3, you can then put your turn energy on it and another water energy on it, and you're ready to attack on turn 3 with 80 damage Water Pulse. That's pretty crazy, if I'm being honest. The speed at which this thing sets up. Now it's a 2-card combo, but it's not even a 2-card combo. Yes, it's just a 2-card combo. It's starting with the Phoebus. Now, granted, Phoebus is very squishy, and you've got to be very nervous when you're using it. And just having Wallace in your opening hand. It's not a tall order. And of course, you can Wallace whenever, and this thing can use its ability from the bench. So you don't even. This is one of those cards like Magneton where you don't even have to worry about getting energies on it because it'll just get energies on itself, which gives it a very nice feeling. You don't feel like you don't need to invest much into getting this thing ready to go. It's just a regular EX, so the HP isn't crazy. 140 is not amazing. There is a new item that increases stage 1 HP, so you would be running that with this, I imagine, because 140 is a very important benchmark that you want to get out of. You don't want Lucario to be able to just one-tap you or whatever. I guess it still will if he plays Karina. I don't know. You don't want Blaziken to be able to one-tap you, okay? The attack is pretty good. Obviously, the cost is quite high, but the fact that it pays for itself makes it a lot better. And then it's a sleep effect. And the big thing about Igglybuff and Darkrai is they're actually colorless, so you could just throw them into any deck. So you could have an Igglybuff Darkrai Milotic deck. And not only that, but the step-up battles actually freaking do that. Just trolling the player at this point. They're doubling down on the sleep Darkrai meta, which is probably one of the most hated things about the game. So it's pretty interesting to see they did this. Now, granted, how good is it actually? I'm not sure because there is there are a lot of people running anti-sleep stuff, and not only that, Miraidon just one-taps this with even a small amount of energy. So, there's certainly counterplay to this card. And Miraidon can be played even if you're asleep. It's just ready to go as soon as you play it down. And there's other stuff. I don't know. Is it actually a good card? Probably. How good? I don't know. We'll have to wait until, competitive starts. Snorant, nothing much to say about it. It's just an evolving little fella, weak to metal, because it's an ice type. Frostlass, discard a card from your hand. You can't attack. If you can't, this attack does nothing. This is Gorgeist. They made a water type Gorgeist. Now, Gorgeist had good synergy with some other psychic cards, and whether this one does, I'm not sure. Obviously, if you're discarding water cards, you can get them back with like Fishing Net or Fisherman or whatever, right? I don't know. I don't know what the synergies are. I think there is a step of battle using this thing, but I don't think it really tried to be. It was like a lower tier one, which wasn't trying to be meta. We got Love Disc. My brain is saying Pyukumuku is exactly like this. Pretty sure it's just the same card as Pyukumuku, the original. Piplup, 2 energies is kind of annoying. Paralysis is a good effect, but I can't really see it. I'd probably use one of the other ones. And then we got an Iron Bundle. We got another Future One. This is a regular Iron Bundle. I can barely read it. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 50 more damage. If tails, this Pokemon does 50 damage to itself. 50 damage to yourself is pretty annoying on a mom with only 80 HP. Yeah, pretty much anything in the game will be able to revenge kill you. If you run it with Will, then you could use this theoretically to kill an Oricorio or something. I can't really see that either. And you do have you do kill the Oricorio even if you miss the flip if you have Booster Energy on. But would you even run? Do they run Booster Energy on? I guess maybe you could use this alongside your Suicune and your Iron Bundle EX or something like that. Is there merit to it? Probably not. This is interesting anyway. 2 energies is not super cheap. I'm glad that they're still making like Paradox Mons. Pikachu and some bubbles. I think we've had a colorless Pikachu that did 2 energies. Now we've got an electric type with 2 energies. It might be okay. I don't know. It's different from the other ones, so maybe you'll find a situation where it's good. Then we got a Raichu. This is very similar. We've had a lot of electric cards that do this. I think one of the Boltons does this, and then like Electrode and stuff like that. Kind of a nothing card. 70 on 2 energies is not interesting. Amolga. This is like a little version of the new Dedenne we got. 30 damage for each Pokemon tool attached to all your Pokemon. These two basically have the same effect, except Dedenne is stronger. And the synergy is that they're both, basics that you can play in a very dense, tool-dense deck. And they do pretty good damage if you can get a bunch of Mons on the field and then a bunch of tools attached to them. This guy caps out at, 120 damage? And then this one caps out at 160. Often you're not going to be getting the full damage of these, but it is actually fairly easy to get, 4 Mons on the field and fairly easy to get a bunch of tools on them. There are good mechanisms to get tools, even some added in this expansion. Pretty interesting. This is like an Oricorio killer / alternate attacker for your Dedenne deck. And there is a new tool that allows you to retreat, or it lowers the retreat cost by 1. So you could use that with these guys to kind of move around a little bit easily between them. If you draw like your Pichu, you can put that balloon onto this guy and then get your Pichu in and get your Pichu to put energies onto this. And then, it's a tool, so it's powering up. The Dedenne, very low HP. It's very similar to Pachirisu. I'm sure people have been making that comparison. Pachirisu does 40 damage on 2 energies, but it does 80 if it has a tool on it. This one does, it's got a much higher damage cap of 160, which is very respectable, but you've got the same HP, and the condition for getting all that damage is a lot harder. And then to even equalize the damage of Pachirisu, hold on, I got a cough. To even equalize the damage of Pachirisu requires 2 things to have tools, whereas Pachirisu by itself only needed 1 thing to have a tool. So it's probably just better than Pachirisu. It almost completely power creeps it, but there is like specific scenarios where Pachirisu is better, but Pachirisu is not a good card at all. This one probably is okay. That's my guess, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what the decks look like. There's a new puppy for our little puppy pile. Nothing really especially interesting about this one. Weak to fighting. The little baby Stylin thing also is weak to fighting, so you're stacking up weaknesses a little bit there. But I think that's not a big deal because everything in this deck is extremely frail, so you're gonna die anyway. Slowpoke uses Growl. The opponents do less damage. It's alright. I like the higher HP. I don't know. We got a new Slowbro, Psybeam. 3 energies is kind of annoying. You got the confusion effect, but I don't think I guess this is just so we've got like a new we've got what's it? It's Carbink here. They made Manaphy, but Psychic type. It's 50 HP and it puts energies. It puts one energy on two things on your bench. So it's the same as Manaphy. So while you're busy building up something else, I suppose you can be building up a Slowbro. And then the cool thing about Slowbro is it can, I don't know, kill Oricorio or just be fat. Um, Nothing much. It's probably not a card you would ever play. It's probably pack filler. Muna, and then we got Masharna. It's doing 50 instead of 40. So it's kind of cool. It's probably not playable. Sylveon. Once during your turn, this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached. You may heal 30 HP from one of your Pokemon. So you have to dedicate the tool, so it's not free. People were saying it'd be good with a Espeon EX for the double healing, and you can use Espeon's healing on the same turn as this, and potentially this twice. The problem is the big damage dealer of Espeon EX decks was Sylveon, and this is the same name, so they're fighting for a deck slot. So that's very annoying. You can just make a pure healing deck, but you want to be able to attack too. And Espeon was already pretty good at healing by itself, and really needed the damage output more than anything else. And Espeon decks are probably not super great these days in a mega meta. This might have some merit. It's colorless, notably, so you can slot it into decks very easily. And it's not like running Eevee or running tools is bad. It's very easy to make room for something like this. Maybe you can have it in your Leafeon deck or something. I don't know. Carbink, as I said, just gives energies to stuff. The synergy here is with the new Mega Diancie. It does more damage for all the energy on your field. Everyone was immediately talking about Mega Gardevoir, and that probably is playable. But also just this Carbink is playable. Like even once you get just some energy on stuff, this Diancie is ready to go. It actually hits pretty high damage pretty quickly. Even to just do its attack, it needs 3 energies plus it's the 40. It's doing 100 minimum, and then the HP is very good because it's a Mega, and it's a Psychic. So having it out in the field early is not actually that big of a deal. Like if you only lead with this and nothing else, if you just got a bad draw in the opening, you can play down your Plaza potentially and get to switch out, stuff like that. Psychic is a good type to be able to escape, I was like a little unimpressed. It's the star of the new set. I was a little impressed when I originally saw it, but I think now I've actually seen it in play. It's pretty menacing. It actually is a very good card. Because it has no damage cap, it's very feasible to get it to some absurd numbers. And what the Step Up Battle was using was just actually probably pretty viable. Is it was doing Carbink for the energy on both the Diancie and other stuff. It was using Ralts. And then it was using the regular Gardevoir, the one that attaches energies to Benchmons after attacking, the one that came out in the same set as Mega Gardevoir. So that's fun because this is a 1 knockout point, and that Gardevoir is 1 knockout point. And then, once you've lost 2 Mons, the Diancie comes in, and you've got a gazillion energies on everything by that point. Hopefully they didn't bring him on with Psychic. There's merit to it, okay? Just take my word for it. Enamorus. This Pokemon and your opponent's active Pokemon have 1 or more of the same type of energy attached to this attack does 60 more damage. Pretty funny effect. I was originally looking at this like, okay, you can have it in a deck with like Terapagos or something like that, and then one of your 3 energies that you brought just needs to be Psychic. But the problem is, what if you don't roll that energy? And you don't want to run like 2 or 1 energy. So probably this is very gimmicky. I can't see someone like using Sableye or whatever to put random energies onto this just so it power up its attack. 3 energies on 60 is terrible. 3 energies for 120 would be kind of good. It wouldn't even be amazing. But it is a mon you could potentially run on, like, with Carbink or something like that, I suppose. I don't know. There might be merit to it. My immediate impression is it's not that good. Fido, only 40 HP. This is one of the little puppy pile guys. The gimmick is that the retreat cost is free, which is very nice. If you get this in your opening hand and it's turn 1, you could always go into it and then, potentially go into a Growlithe or some other random thing that you have. I don't know. The 40 HP is terrible, but free retreat cost is invariably very good. Fluttermane, we got an Ancient Mon. This is the only other Paradox Mon of the set. We had those last set we had EXs for Fluttermane and Iron Bundle, but now we've just got regular ones. If this Pokemon didn't move from the bench to the active spots this turn, this attack does nothing. So it needs to come in and attack in order to get that damage. And 2 energies for 90 is actually really good. And it being a basic. Plus, you've got the Peculiar Plaza, so you can easily switch out without losing energies in Psychic. So the synergy's all there for this thing. This thing actually probably does work. Is it good? I don't know. But does it work? Yes, I think. You could run it to kill Oricorio or something like that. I don't know. And then it's an Ancient Mon, so you can get the energies on it instantly with Zeta, or you could power it up with Ancient Booster Energy, so it has 140 HP or whatever. So that's kind of cool. 140 HP is pretty good for, or 120 HP. It's pretty good for a basic. Whooper. It's got a little, like, what is that toy in there? Is it a toy Whooper? It's a Whalmer. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I see the Staryu. It's got some stuff in there with it. I don't know. Take giving a bath to your Whooper. Looks like a nothing card. We got a, I think we've had some, is Whooper's not a ground type, is it? Have they ever done this? I think Whooper is just water. I could be wrong. I thought they had to make it. Well, maybe it is a ground type, and I just don't know. I thought Whooper was just water. Whatever. If Whooper is ground, that's pretty crazy. Or if Whooper's not ground type, it's pretty crazy they made a fighting card for it. Then we got Quagsire. One of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks is chosen at random during your opponent's next turn. That Pokemon can use that chosen attack. Most cards, including I think every or just about every Mega, only have one attack. So if the opponent can't switch out, that also just means they can't attack, which sounds quite strong. Now, 3 energies is, and some types 3 energies is not a big deal, but fighting is like the most restrictive type to put energies onto stuff. So finding time to put 3 energies onto this is a bit of an ordeal. Now, one of them is colorless, so you could, you could run this in a dual type deck or use a baby or something like that. Maybe running this alongside your Poliwrath EX. It's difficult to get this thing going, but that is a strong effect on paper. Here's Rockruff. This is probably one of the better puppies just because fighting is a good type. Nothing else. It's not even any different from Yamper and all that. That was just 60 HP, 1 retreat cost. The weakness is Grass, which is, it's about as good or bad as any other weakness. Sandygast. I love that HP. I hate that retreat cost, but if you're gonna be using it as an early game card, you don't mind that the retreat cost would be high. And this is actually an early game card because we've got the Palosand with 1 energy. And there's actually from the last set, there's what's her name, Acerola, which can work with Palosand cards, and it's a very good card actually. I think it heals your Palosand 40 HP and deals 40 HP to the active Mon in front of you. So that's an attack mid-turn. If that knocks something out, you can then still attack the new thing that comes in on the same turn. Really, really, really good card, but only works with Palosand and Mimikyu, I think. But this is probably playable if I'm being 100% serious. The problem is, like, Acerola doesn't really do anything else in a fighting deck. So, is it actually good? Probably not. It's a lot of deck space to dedicate. But this attack of 30, flip a coin for 60 on 1 energy with this extremely high HP and this energy with the heavy helmet, and you don't care about the high retreat cost if it's supposed to be an early game card. There probably is something to this. I don't think it's ever going to be in a kind of meta deck or whatever, but it probably would be playable against meta decks. We got Mega Sableye EX, one of the new EX cards. It is a Mega, so it's worth 3 points. Cursed Jewel, it's 170 HP. Basics, a lot of Mega basics have that value. Cursed Jewel, during your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, do 40 damage to the attacking Pokemon. We've seen this effect before on various things. None of them have ever been meta, so I wouldn't be surprised if people aren't really sure how this mechanic works. But it takes into account weaknesses, if you didn't know. So if you're weak to Dark and you hit this thing, it actually does 60 damage back to you instead of 40. It like treats it like an attack. The Step Up battles, we're using this with a Rocky Helmet. So you're taking 60 damage just from attacking this after it attacks you. Not a ton, but it, after this thing does 80 to you on 2 energies, which is pretty good, to immediately... It's really going to check your swing. Your ability to hit it back is actually going to be like significantly affected, I think, depending on how much damage is on your side of the field or whatever. Of course, the double-edged part of this is an early game Mega, and as soon as this gets any kind of damage at all, it becomes very vulnerable to Cyrus. The Step Up Battle was using it with Silver, and I think that is a combo that you might use. Silver takes one of the opponent's supporters at your choice and puts it back into their deck. The problem is if it's the late game, you might be taking their only card and putting it back into their deck, so they just draw it back right away. And even if it's not like end game, there's a possibility they just draw it back right away. And if you use this if you play Silver early on, you get rid of their Cyrus, but they just might get back, over the course of the game. It doesn't have to be right away. What else about it? The com doesn't really know how to use silver. It just plays it whenever it feels like it. But like a human would be very good at it. They would like only use it when they would be vulnerable to Cyrus. Is it playable? Maybe. Two energies is very cheap. 80 damage is pretty good. I mean, Mega Absol is doing the same thing. Mega Absol's effect is probably better than this. Now I'm thinking about it, it's very easy to compare the two because they have the same HP and weakness and damage. Um, I don't know. I would rather discard supporters than get this bonus damage from being hard to hurt. But both of them have merit. Cacturne, here it is. We finally saw it. If your opponent's active Pokemon has damage on it, this does 60 more. We've had a card that did this, Bruxish, I think. Um, so how good this is basically just depends on how good your type is at getting damage on other things. The obvious synergy here to me would be Darkrai EX. So you put the energy on the Darkrai EX, and then that does 20 damage, and then this thing's attack suddenly does 70. And it's a 2 energy combo, so it's pretty cheap, and you can get it off pretty early. Probably playable. Probably not amazing. Also, you could run it alongside like Spiritomb or something like that. Things that just like get damage on the opponent's side of the field. On the subject of Spiritomb, here's one. Dark Slumber. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. Obvious synergy with Darkrai, but 2 energies to put something to sleep is a little bit more than Why would you ever run this over something like Espeon? But there's merit to it. You could run this alongside the sleep spam. It's alright. 80 HP is pretty good, and it's a basic and all that. Scraggy, low kick. It's nothing. Scrafty, high jump kick. It's kind of nothing. HP is a bit higher than a lot of the other cards, but she costs us a little bit higher. Marini, 60 HP basic with 2 energies is usually pretty annoying to use. This is a new Venoshock card. If your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, does 60 more damage. That's a pretty big jump. I think they've realized that Venoshock is not particularly, good right now. And not only that, but how is this thing supposed to poison something else? Like you could put a poison barb on it, but like I think that they would just kill you. It's only got 60 HP. It's not a ton. If they are only doing 20 damage, if it's like right at the start of the game, they probably just wouldn't attack you, and that would be that. Here's our new Toxapex. If the opponent's active Pokemon is... Oh, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Do 40 damage to this Pokemon instead of the usual amount for this special condition. I find the wording really curious. I haven't tested it. I haven't labbed it. I don't know how it works. It sounds like it's going to do 40 at the end of the turn and then 40 at the start of the next turn, stuff like that. It's going to be doing 40 damage per tick instead of 20, instead of 10, all that. But it says do 40 instead of the usual amount. It doesn't say 40 instead of 10. So I wonder if that overwrites Nihilego. Now, it's more than 2 Nihilegos, so it's very potent. But if it deliberately prevents you from stacking Nihilego onto it, that wouldn't surprise me too much. It's interesting. That's a lot of damage, I can't lie. Is it good? Probably not. Gumi, I love the card art on this thing. The other Gumi's way better though. That one had 40 HP, but the effect of forcing the opponent to attach extra energies was insanely useful. I probably would never run this. I'd probably run the other Gumi. And the other Gumi had a full art too, so Hisui and Sliggoo. I was a little confused on the art of this card. I think the shell's lying on its side and this little guy's poking out of it. But I don't remember the last time I've looked at like Hisui and Sliggoo. I kind of thought that it became Hisui and once it became a Gudra, and not when it became a Sliggoo. What was our other type for Gudra? I actually don't remember. Was it Water Psychic? This one's Water Metal anyway. So this is like the same effect as the other Sliggoo, except I think their retreat cost is higher and I think the HP is higher, but then I think the type is different. And then this card was revealed in the trailer, so a lot of people were already talking about it. If any damage is done to this Pokemon by attack, flip a coin. If heads, this Pokemon takes minus 80 from that attack. So the attack is strong enough. Needing 2 energies is pretty bog standard for Dragon cards, and you can definitely get 3 energies onto this, including 2 different ones. One of them is water, so you could run this alongside a Mantike, and you probably would. You could even potentially run Mantike and only metal energies. That's actually what I did for Gudra when I laddered Gudra back in the day. I like successfully did events with a Gudra deck. The other Gudra is very similar to this, 150 HP Dragon type. But I had it with NDD, I think. Yeah, I was using like NDD, Mantike, Gudra, something like that. It was pretty good actually. I had good success rate, even though I couldn't get the energies naturally. Mantike I had Lycia Mantike and I was able to pull it off most of the time. Uh, it not being an EX means that stuff like Karina or Red doesn't work on it, or Arena of Antiquity. So that 150 HP is actually better than it looks. And then you could always run a, cape or something as well if you feel like it. Although, you could run other tools. They'd probably be good here. Heavy Helmet is the tempting one. Um, and then you're gonna have a lot of staying power between Lily and between this ability that massively mitigates damage. There's a really good chance that it's just gonna be really hard for the opponent to kill you. Like yeah, Charizard Y could kill you, but that's like it. Very bulky if the ability procs. And then the attack is strong enough that you'll beat down whatever's in front of you, probably. Decks that can recover off 120 HP per turn are not good for other reasons. Um, and then the bulk effect of the ability also means that even if you don't get the energies needed to attack right away, you can potentially live long enough to successfully get some attacks off. So that's nice. It's probably a good card. Jigglypuff, Stompy Stomp. Flip 2 coins to stack does 30 damage for each heads. 2 energies is annoying. I would rather not screw around with that. Probably won't run one of the other Jigglypuffs. Wigglytuff. Expand. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes minus 20 from attacks. It's not great. A new Eevee. I didn't ask for it. We're up to 11 now. It's cute. Its gimmick is that it's got a little bit more HP than the other ones, but actually, being able to draw the other ones with Lycia is very common, either in Leafeon decks or Espeon decks for Sleep, Altaria, or stuff like that. Jolteon. They all just use the instant evolution, boosted evolution Eevee, and they all draw it with Lycia, so I can't see this one ever being used. This was quite cool. We've got a baby, but he has 50 HP instead of 30. That's bulky. But then the other side of the coin is this thing, it's based on a mon that has like a 5 base speed or whatever. It has a retreat cost of 2. So being able to attack for free is awesome. And getting a card every time you attack is awesome. But you don't have the normal baby utility. The only thing about this is just that you don't have to dedicate an energy to it. It's a draw engine that requires no energy at all, which is theoretically very good, but you're also condemning it to death, Being able to draw an extra card on turn 1 is nice, though. Probably pretty good. There's probably going to be some deck that actually uses this. Snorlax, this is a pretty interesting one. Oh, you can also get it off the field with Ilima because it's a normal type, and same for Snorlax. It's an early game wall, I think. The energy cost is obviously ginormous, and it has an attack that's not very good at all. But the ability is kind of interesting. As long as this Pokemon's in the active spot, your opponent can't play any Stadium cards from their hand. So it doesn't stop you from playing Stadium, it just stops the opponent from playing a Stadium. So you could lead with this, maybe on your Fossil deck or whatever, and get your Stadium up, and the opponent can't cancel it with theirs. I don't really see being able to get the attack off very often, so you can't really use it as a Oricorio killer most of the time, I think, unless you're running an energy ramp that actually works for normal types, such as Manaphy. And I don't know, there aren't that many decks that truly depend on their arena. Like, there's decks that use their arena, like the Swords of Justice, or like most grass decks with the forced. But they're not like sitting ducks if they can't get their arena up, So being able to lock the opponent's arena is just kind of useful. But theoretically, you could use Lyra or Ilima, especially Ilima, to get this thing off the field once you're all set up on your side. So there's definitely merit to it. And it's bulky, so you can allow it to get worn down a little bit. And even if it dies, it's like not an EX card, so you're only yielding 1 point. So a lot of merit to this card, actually. Is it good? I don't know. Teddy Ursa. During your opponent's next turn, this attack used by the defending Pokemon do minus 20 damage. It's kind of a nothing card. Ursaring, definitely a nothing card. The retreat cost is annoyingly high, but you got the heavy helmet. 70 damage on 3 energies is garbage. I would never run this. Ursaluna. This is my first time seeing this card. I didn't know this was here. I forgot this Pokemon existed. This Pokemon would be knocked out by damage from an attack. Flip a coin. If heads, this Pokemon is not knocked out and its remaining HP becomes 10. We had a Hariyama with this exact effect. And that one had... No. We had a Conkeldurr with this exact effect. Hariyama had the effect using Hala, but Hariyama had it, or Conkeldurr had it naturally. Hala guaranteed survival, but it was a supporter, and then Conkeldurr just had guts. Um, that's a big cost of its attack, but that effect is really that ability is super good. And then the damage of Hammer Arm is it's not good for 4 energies, but it's good enough. And discarding the opponent's card is kind of nice. It's better than not having an effect. The big draw here is Guts is very interesting, potentially very powerful. This is probably not a good card at all, but I'm sure that if you want to screw around, that you can get some miracle wins just by flipping repeated tails or whatever. The opponent flipping repeated tails. No, you were flipping repeated heads. Yeah. We got Hisuian Zorua that runs around. I think this is our first time ever having this card, so you don't have another one to run with. This is not a good effect or anything. It's the same as Magikarp. And then we've got Hisuian Zoroark. This one's pretty fun. So this is kind of notable, this attack, because it gets you on the bench, and Zoroark is a late game card, this one. So you do want to get this onto the bench, and you would like to keep the energy on it. So run around is a good effect. I take it back. That's nice. This attack does 20 more damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile. 80 for 3 energies is not even horrible, but it's actually very easy to get a bunch of Mons in the discard pile. The synergy this was using was Grass, and I really like Grass because of the way that what's that card? Grow Extract works, but you could theoretically run it alongside like Psychic and use it the same way that Houndstone works, something like that. Use like the various cards that discard to attack, and then you'll have a bunch of Mons. So the thing is, like, if you rely on things dying to get your cards in the discard pile, then Grass is really attractive because the Quick Grow Extract, if you use like a stage 2 line, all 3 Mons end up there. Whereas if you've got a deck that's like all basics, each time something dies, you're only getting a single card into the discard pile. But if your Butterfree dies, that's the Butterfree, the Metapod, and the Caterpie, so that's 3 extra ticks of 20 damage on this attack. The damage potential of this card is quite good. It's got a very strong endgame, actually. And then the attack is, it's cheap enough. It's bulky enough. The retreat cost being 2 is maybe a little bit annoying. That might hurt you. Probably merit to this card. We've got Furfrou. This might be the last form. I don't know how many are represented at this point. I think we've got pretty much all of them. It's got the same effects, the ability. This Pokemon takes minus 20 damage from attacks. It might have less HP. I don't remember what they had. I think they did have 70. And then the effect is quite good on the attack. Flip 2 coins, the attack does 30 damage for each head. So we had the one earlier that was like just always 30 damage. But this one is 30 damage with a chance of 0 or 60. And the 60 is awesome. It's a great benchmark. Obviously 0 sucks, but if you consider this has a 3/4 chance of killing a baby, and then like a 1/4 chance of killing an evolving basic, that's going to happen pretty often. 1/4 of the time. That's like not super rare, and that would be immensely helpful anytime it happened. So there's some serious merit to this card. It's probably slightly better than the 30 damage one, but it's hard for me to say. It's also just more inconsistent. Squivit just exists. And Greedent. This is like a Komala or whatever. No, we've had cards like this before. I forget what. It puts itself to sleep, but when you attack, you got 2 chances to wake up before your next turn. Probably this is terrible in a meta where everyone's running the Darkrai. You're just going to be inviting yourself to take a bunch of damage even if they didn't put you to sleep. Probably not a playable card at all. 3 energies for 100 damage is kind of good, and 130 HP is quite good, and 3 retreat cost is manageable and gives you the heavy helmet. It's something. It's probably not playable at all, but it's better than a lot of the Rattatas we've had. Small Balloon, we're onto our trainers. Retreat cost of the basic Pokemon on this card is Tetsu is 1 less, so it does have to be a basic. Important to note. It's not just a retreat cost -1. For the inflatable raft, that was any Watermon is -1 retreat cost, and this is any basic Mon. So this doesn't power creep in the raft because you could be using the raft on a evolved Pokemon, and you can't use this on an evolved Pokemon. But they are pretty interchangeable most of the time. Is it good? Hard to say. it's it's probably going to see use on that Dedenne deck. Generally speaking, X speed does the same thing, but X speed frees you up for other tools. But this is infinite use, so it just depends on how much you expect to be able to switching in and out over and over. A lot of basics with a lot of staying power aren't retreat cost one. Like your Suicune isn't retreating for one energy. Um, and if you have a mon that is like a low HP basic that retreats on one energy, it's just probably not going to retreat more than once. So X speed would be pretty similar to this. Elegant Cape, the stage 1 Pokemon this card is attached to gets plus 30 HP. So that's pretty cool. I can see this being used on a lot of stage 1 decks, like that new Milotic deck that's going to be probably played. Um, Maybe your Ninetales, Alolan Ninetales EX, something like that. Um, Maybe your Donphan EX. I don't know. There's like a stage 1 decks that people play, and this is a card that you would probably run on a stage 1 deck. Lucario, I don't know. maybe Lucario, maybe not. Alyssa, it's just like a black and white gym leader, I think. Return all Pokemon tools attached to each Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, to their owner's hand. I have been playing the Swords of Justice deck, and occasionally I find myself thinking, damn, I wish I could reorganize these things. I probably wouldn't dedicate a deck slot to it. I would probably never run this, even on the few times I've actually wanted to. Um, Hard to say. It is nice to get them back. You could potentially like play all your tools in an optimal ways, and then release them back, like just to prevent the opponent from not having a prevent the opponent from having a giant copycat or something like that. There's merit there, I suppose. Um, I don't know. Might be used for the Dedenne deck, might not. Obviously, they picked a lightning type, electric type gym leader, so I think that they probably expect you to use it with Dedenne and Emolga and all that. I think Emolga was one of Elisa's aces. I nearly said mains. Puppy Loving Girl in my first 10 pack. I got the 2-star for this. I saw this card and I was like, oh yeah, when they reveal the full art for this thing, I need it. And then I got it. Truly, I am blessed. Um, it's designed to use with the puppy deck. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. It's like Sightseer, but with babies. I mean, not with babies, with puppies. Um, all the puppy pile cards in your top 4 are drawn into your hand. So that really gives you a lot of early game damage output reliably in the puppy pile deck. Like it's not unreasonable to have 6 puppies by the time you can even attack, and that's 120 damage on 2 energies on like turn 4 or turn 5. So that's pretty legit actually. This is actually, if you're running a puppy pile deck, you would 100% run 2 of these. Wallace is crazy, but we'll have to wait and see like what kind of synergy people find with it. People are gonna have to go back through all the water type cards to see what the good ones are. The really obvious ones to me are Melodic EX just now, and then all the various Gyarados. This is good for all them. Um, but we'll see if there's other stuff that synergizes with it. I gotta like just go through like the online dexes or whatever, capped 50 HP, and then water type. Kids Room, we got a new stadium. Once during each player's turn, that player may choose a card in their hand, switch it with a random Pokemon tool in their deck. So if you're running a deck that really needs tools, this is actually a good draw engine for tools. You just can turn anything from your hand into a tool once per turn. That's really nice. And I have tried it. If you have no tools left in your deck, it just fails. It like lets you start to use it, and then it's like, oh, there's no tools in the deck, and it gives you back the card that you tried to put away. So there's no danger of accidentally just shuffling something away, which is nice. If you're using this with particular decks that appreciate having tools, such as, I don't know, the Dedenne, I don't know, Skarmory, something like that, um, this actually would be a good ally. This would be a card. This is a very playable stadium, in my opinion, but you would only use it on particular decks. You wouldn't use it on any old deck. But there are some very good tools out there that you would really appreciate having reliably. Vulpix, we got the full arts. It's cute. It's blowing some fire, just a little bit. Piplup, it's my first time seeing this card. I haven't gotten one yet. I mean, it's a penguin, so I'm not surprised to see it in a snowy climate, but I never really thought about putting it in a snowy climate. I always just kind of regard it as a regular old water thing and not an ice thing. Pikachu, it's kind of the new design, newish design. This thing's head has slowly been getting rounder over the years. This is like late stage Pikachu. Looks pretty good. I really like the softness of this Sylveon. It's cute looking. Look at it's doing its little cat wash thing. I guess this is a cat or something. I guess the EVs are cats or something. Um, Looks nice. I like the pastel colors and all that. I really like the art of this Marini. What are we? We're a Corsola? We've got like a Corsola POV or something like that. It's kind of scary. What is Dandy's World? I feel like I've seen a Dandy's World character one time that looked like this. But I don't even know what it is. It's like a Roblox game? Anyway, here's a Jigglypuff. They're really going all out on the cute mons in this set. They're just making full arts of everything that's cute. The whole theme of the set seems to be cute things. Jigglypuff's like on a cake or something. I don't know. Those balloons. It's like a party. It's using Stompy Stomp on the cake. Better not do that. Snorlax with some leftovers, looks like. You know, it's been eating, I guess. Squovit or Greedent. It's my first time seeing this one too. A bunch of actual berries. You know, all of those are real berries that you can look up. Melodic EX. Pose looks great. Color looks great. Overall, this is one of the better 2 stars they've ever made. The Dene. Purple's an interesting choice. I don't love the pose. This is like the first time I've seen Dedenne in any pose other than just head-on looking directly at the camera. Mega Dance. See, I actually just pulled this one after I finished all the step-up battles and all that. I hopped on with my new hourglasses and did a 10 pull, and I got this. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Mega Sableye with the big old gem. Looks kind of cool. The colors are the same as like Steelix, I think. This is these are megas, so they got the other one, the normal form in the picture, which is kind of cool. I like the color of this one. This is kind of nice. I feel like I would have liked Zoroark a lot if I was 12 when I first saw it, but unfortunately I was already an adult when they designed it. Elisa, this is someone's chase card. It's not mine. Puppy loving girl. She's so cute. You're at POV. You're a puppy. It's great. Wallace, he's kind of cool actually. I can't lie. This guy was the uh, Emerald champion, if memory serves. He was like the 8th trainer, the 8th gym leader in Ruby Sapphire, and then he became the champion in Emerald. Pretty cool. Pretty cool guy. He's got style. He's got flair. Melodic EX, it's diving. Looks pretty nice. Like the colors. Remember, Ridge cards usually look great. Mega Dancy with its hand right in my fucking face. Get that thing away from me. It's cute anyway. Mega Sableye, and it's half of its face is being like magnified by the gem. That's pretty funny. I like the look of this a lot. And the colors are nice too. Zoroark looks kind of cool. I said this was the mascot of the new set, but actually it's not. I guess it's Dedenne, because Dedenne is the one that has the cinematic. Interesting. The snow looks great. Is this a Snowmon? I didn't realize that. I wonder what the cinematic animation looks like. I often tell people that I think Dedenne looks more like Pikachu than Pikachu does. It like has all of Pikachu's signature traits, but like dials them up. It's even smaller and even rounder. Shiny Caterpie, it's the new one, which is the one you would run. Same with the whole line. Interesting to introduce shinies of the same gen. I feel like usually they don't do that. Mareep and Flaffy and Ampharos. I do not remember all my Mareeps apart from each other. We got a Slowbro. Where's Poke? It's water type. Are these misordered or something? I don't know. No, there's just Slowbro, or maybe they're not all here. Maybe this is not a complete set of all the cards or something. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Maybe we've already had a shiny Slowbro and shiny Slowpoke and I just forgot about it. And they did like Slowking or something like that. Or maybe they probably did a shiny Slowpoke and then shiny Slowbro EX. And now they're doing a shiny Slowbro. That's probably what happened. Because there was a shiny Slowbro EX. Or Mega Slowbro, rather. Kangaskhan, the shiny looks the damn same. It's just the same color. It's like a little bit more gray instead of brown. I need my shinies to be very distinct. This is a quality shiny right here. Or this one. This one actually looks more green than it does in the games. It's like very solidly gold in the games. This one has like a green twinge. Butterfree, I would not immediately recognize as a shiny. If I like ran into a random battle with a Butterfree, I would not think to catch this. The Reap looks good. Ditto, it's blue. People like to point out that Ditto and Mew have the same color and the same shiny color. They also have the same height and the same weight, and they also both know Transform. There's a fan theory that, there's some failed clone kind of nonsense going on there. But for what it's worth, Ditto's height and weight are very normal numbers. It's on here. Height 1 foot, weight 8.8 pounds. That's like 4 kilos, I think. No. Yes. Right. 4 kilos. It's 2.2 pounds per kilo. Shiny Snorlax. Slightly nicer coloration than a regular Snorlax, but only slightly. That's a quality shiny right there. Mega Gyarados. Yeah, that's peak. They picked a good shiny to be the mascot of shinies. Is Gyarados. Vaporeon. It's nice. I like it. Mega Ampharos. I've never seen anyone use this card. In all the time I played competitive, I've never seen anyone pull Ampharos out. Maybe once, right when it came out. It's like extra damage to damage bench Pokemon or something like that. No. It just does damage randomly to bench Pokemon every time you attack. No. One of your opponent's bench Pokemon is chosen at random 3 times. For each time a Pokemon was chosen to do 20 damage to it. So yeah. It's like... It's Mega Slowbro, but it's like worse. It's better because it does more total damage. Slowbro does the whole, like a random amount of damage to everything. This always does 60 damage to random targets. This is probably better. This is cool if you have, like, the opponent only has one bench mom with 60 HP, you're just reliably going to kill it. It's kind of interesting. But it's also going to set up a lot of Cyrus bait, so that's nice. Is it good? Probably not. Indeedee, this is a good card. I've used this one many times. It's one of my favorite cards to use. That Watch Over is just really useful, and then Psychic is a fun attack anyway. Our gold card is Munchlax, so it must be good, right? He's hitting that Golden Freddy right there. Looks pretty good, I guess. And then a Small Balloon. We got two golds just to make the player. If you really like Munchlax, if you're that guy who went and caught Munchlax in Gen 4 when it was a 1% Honey Tree encounter, if you're the Munchlax stan, now you have to buy twice as many packs because you're going to get Small Balloon first because you're unlucky. I can't imagine trying to chase either of these golds. I'm content with the regular Small Balloon. I don't need the gold Small Balloon. Anyway, that's all the new cards. Thanks for watching. It's been fun.